circuit. You're taking movements, like multiple movements, and you're putting them in an environment back to back where, let's say someone has a 10-minute AMRAP of 10 cal assault bike, 10 push-ups, and 10 air squats. And they're just doing those 3 activities back to back to back. It could be cyclical in gymnastics. We could add some weightlifting in there as well, depending on the client. But this is our next step in the progression.
Yeah, so I think this is what most people would think is a Metcon. Like when people think of Metcon, they think of like circuit pieces, chipper pieces, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, this is what I thought. This is what I think CrossFit brought to the game, right? And why so many people fell in love with CrossFit, because they started doing these types of aerobic pieces, these circuit aerobic pieces, and they were like, it's fucking fun, right? It's just fun, right? They're like, I don't feel like I'm going in the Stairmaster and just like doing that for 60 minutes. I'm not like walking on a treadmill. It's like I'm doing this thing that is really engaging and I'm seeing results, right? So I think that's why that's a big reason, not the only reason, why a lot of people fell in love with CrossFit. So yeah, circuits are fun, right? They're really fun. Exercise selection really, really, really matters, and what should be inside of these pieces, and intentions on why someone is doing these pieces also really, really matters.
What intentions could there be? And like, I know that's like a big
No,
open
it's a
well,
good
but
question,
what are
though.
the
Yeah.
intentions behind doing it that you'd say are good intentions?
Gosh, I wouldn't say there's any like surface level bad intentions, but the intention should just be clear, right? I mean, let's say you're working with a client and they're like, I really enjoy these circuit type pieces. And they're like, I want to lose body weight, right? It's like you can use circuit pieces to make someone sweat and move and flow and feel really good and burn some calories, right? What if someone said, hey, I want to get really good at these circuit pieces? Now it's like that starts to get really interesting to a lot of coaches, because now they start thinking about progression and what does this look like? What do we put inside of it? How does this week differ from next week? So on and so forth. What if someone said, I just want to do it because I feel really good when I breathe and sweat, right? Like they're not attached to like performance. They're not attached to losing body weight. They just really enjoy doing it. It's like, that's another reason why. But the thing is what's inside of them, exercise selection wise, is going to be the same no matter what the hell their goal is. The way that you progress it is going to be different, but it's going to be the same because it's going to be based on what can they do inside of these pieces to keep them sustainable. So I think that's the most important thing. It's like, no matter what your goal is, what you're doing inside is going to be the same for every person, because it's going to be what they're capable of doing and making sustainable across multiple sets.
Yeah, I know for, clients that I have that do mixed modal circuit style training, for each of those clients, I've got, a running list of the kinds of activities that can go inside of their pieces. Because, like you said, can't give every single person the same exercises. That goblet squat you mentioned earlier, that could be a really simple exercise, could be an incredibly complex one and not fit well inside of a circuit for a person.
Yep.
So you just got to know your clients and what they can and can't do in an aerobic setting.
Yep. Yeah, I think when we look at like, let's say we're sitting back and we're just looking out of the gym here, and there was like 4 people doing circuits out there. What we would want to see in all 4 of those people, no matter what they're doing inside of their circuit, is like that like higher turnover, a flow, this to this to this to this, not like this for 3 minutes and then this for 15 seconds and then this for 2, you know what I mean? Like you want to design that thing. And that's where the designing of circuits becomes really fun, because you're like, okay, based on, like you're saying, based on my client, my running list of what they can perform, how can I plug this list into this piece to give it that, higher turnover, sustainability, and just like beauty of like, equal work on each one of these pieces like equal-ish work on each one of these pieces. How can I design that for this person versus this person versus this person? That's where like individual design and prescribing this work to, different types of people gets really fun.
It's incredibly enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like this is the art of coaching, this part right here. Getting the opportunity to do that it's really, really awesome.
Yeah. But dark side of this thing is when you have a client that their list isn't that robust, right? It's like they can do cyclical plus a very small portion of gymnastics or body weight activity. I think coaches fall into a rut of like, I don't want to give them the same ish things week over week over week, and I have to get creative, and I just want to throw like a weightlifting thing in there. I think they can maybe do it, but I want to throw it in there for them, right? Because I want it to be fun, and I don't want it to seem like we're just doing like boring circuit work. That's an issue that I think a lot of coaches deal with is I understand the principles and I understand what people can and cannot do inside of these pieces, but there's that like little devil on my shoulder saying, put something else in so we can make it fun. You just got to resist that thing and just give people what they can do, and just have a conversation and tell them why they're doing what they're doing.
Definitely.
And also they think about, how do I progress this thing on a week over week basis? And with all aerobic work, progression most times it's good enough just to be doing it. That's it, right? Because we go back to like metabolic adaptation. We'll call it metabolic conditioning. Metabolic conditioning should all be focused on how do we allow this person to adapt to the work that we're giving them week over week over week. And I remember seeing mixed pieces where coaches would just get like, they would get too cute. Like, it was like, okay, this week we're doing a 10-minute AMRAP. We're going to do 60 double unders. We're going to do 15 wall balls, and we're going to do 15 calorie row. Next week, we're going to do 65 double unders. We're going to do 18 wall balls, and we're going to do an 18 calorie row. It's like, you're progressing this like it's resistance training. Don't do that, right? Like, there's no difference between the 15 and the 18 other than they're spending 5 more seconds on the thing, right? So we shouldn't think of progressing circuits like that, like we progress resistance training. Just dose them with things that they can do inside of it, and have a plan based on like what are the characteristics that are going to go inside of that circuit work, and give it to them over a period of time. And if the goal is to get better at, like, let's say you have like this FME, this specific FME that you want them to get better at, and it includes wall balls and rowing, what else did I say? And double unders. Make sure that you're dosing those movements, or movements that will increase the capability to do those movements across that entire cycle before you retest that FME. That was a lot, sorry.
No, it was good. It was good. I mean, rule of thumb, like if you're just looking at your client and trying to figure out, is what I'm giving them inside of their circuit appropriate? Like you said before, look at them on the floor. Are they moving like this at a nice steady pace, not breaking between movements, not like getting bogged down in one area or having to do big fractions and take long rests? You just want to see them flow between movements. And then look at intraset repeatability. For that 12-minute AMRAP, have them have their lap timer out on their, watch or their phone, and every time they finish a circuit, hit that lap button and take a look at the end, have them send you that, and make sure that every set inside of that is 2 minutes or whatever it needs to be. And that should give you some good insight.